بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله الطاهرين. The first topic that theologians usually speak about is the existence of a creator. And this is the most important topic in this field of science, because everything that comes after this episode stands on this episode, relies on this episode, relies on this topic, which is whether we have a creator or we don't have a creator. There are many schools of thoughts on this topic, mainly three: the materialistic school of thought, the sudden school of thought, and the God school of thought. Today we are only going to speak about the materialistic school of thought. This school of thought is a widespread school of thought. It has many theories and many ideas, and within it there are many points of views, but they all agree on that the main source of the universe are materials. These materials are tiny atoms that had no beginning and no creator. They were just there. These tiny atoms are the most basic materials. From them combining, they create different materials, and these materials create different materials, and then they resulted in this whole universe. We can answer this school of thought or this misconception with two main points. The first: everything we see and feel are either changes or entities that are changing. These changes are a clear reason for why these materials or these atoms cannot be the main creator, since they themselves need a creator. Why do they need a creator? We can simply say that change is an action, and the action needs an outside power to make this action come to life, or this change makes this change, which is an action, comes to life. Let's take an example: water. Water has two main atoms, hydrogen and oxygen, or two main materials, hydrogen and oxygen. The hydrogen itself cannot combine with the oxygen, and the oxygen itself cannot combine with the hydrogen unless there is an outside power. When we say outside power, we either mean heat, pressure, or anything. That is something that is pushing them and affecting them and changing them into this third material, which is water. This change, because it relies on an outside power, we can clearly state and say and believe that these atoms need a what? Need a creator. If we don't want to say a creator, we will say someone or something that affects them. Something that affects them makes it more powerful than them. And if it's more powerful than them, they can't be existing before this more powerful entity or this more powerful energy. So we can either say that this energy or whatever is affecting these atoms is the creator, and these atoms were the first materialistic creation. But we can't say that these atoms, they are the main creator and they had no beginning, simply because they are changing. And that change is what's giving us these different materials and different entities around the universe. The second point is that the creator cannot be a changing entity, since change doesn't come by itself, but by a power that forces this change. An example for this is ice melting. Is the ice melting? Ice doesn't melt until there is heat, and that heat is affecting this ice and turning it from the solid material into a liquid material. And the same heat changes or turns that liquid material into a gas material. That point, if we understood or if we understand the first point, the second point becomes easy. The main difference between the first and the second is that the first, we're talking about that these materials cannot be the main creators because there is something affecting them, and the main creator should not be affected by anything. The second is that the main creator cannot be changing. If it's changing, that means the creation itself is simply being erased and the new creation coming. For example, if we have paper, paper being burnt, the result is ash. This ash is a different material. So if we say that the paper, for example, is the main creator, that means it has changed, it has been erased, and a new material came. So this new material, is it going to be also a main creator? If yes, then there will be an infinite amount of main creators. If we say no, the main creator is the paper that was burnt. In this instance, we're going to say, how is it a creator that is always affecting the universe and has no beginning and end simply be erased by an outside power that we suppose that it itself created it? Because when we say they had no beginning and they are the main creators, they have to be by themselves. But then there is heat, and then there's pressure, and then there are materials changing. And so these main creators were never by themselves. With these 2 points, we can simply believe that these atoms or these materials are not what creating the universe, or are not the main creators of the universe. Yes, we can say that they are a part of the creation of the universe. They are the beginning of the universe, but they themselves are the main creators? No. Why? Because they're simply being affected by outside powers. And main creators, when talking about a main creator, has to exist before any other power or any other energy affecting it. And that is a logical rule for why these materials cannot be the main creators.